This is what we're making, a spiral set of earrings with forged ear wires. We're going to make a 5-minute pair of earrings. Now, for the ear wires, we use 0.8 millimeter wire, because that's a good size to go in the ear. So 2 pieces, 50 millimeters long, 5 centimeters. File the ends. So hold it straight up and down on the end of your bench pin and file the end. And for an ear wire, you always do this because you don't want to take the chance of cutting your ear or anybody else's. Then your sanding stick to just smooth off the edges. Now we're going to use flat round pliers to make the ear wires, and what you want to do is you want to mark your pliers with a texture. See that little black mark? It's so that you can make exactly the same size loop every time. So we're just going to grab the end of the wire, curl that tight against your finger, let it slip back, and curl it so that there's a D, so that this bit touches the wire. Then we're going to just slip these pliers down, center that loop. We're going to decide where on these pliers we want to use for the next bit, because that'll determine the length of the drop for these earrings. So the loop is up, the opening is up. So we're going to, on these ones, we're going to come right up here to the widest part of the pliers. Push it down 45 degrees. Put your thumb right against the piece. We want a crisp angle. Shift that through to the other side of the pliers. Make sure that you're on the widest part of the loop up here. And this one is up and over. Then just a little kick in the end, so that when it starts to fall out of your ear, you'll be aware. Now, by marking your pliers, you should be able to duplicate this exactly every time. So this is a 50 mil long piece. If you want a longer tail, make it a little bit longer. Now we're going to make a spiral, and for this we're going to use a 60 millimeter long piece of wire. We don't have to worry too much about the end of the wire on this one because it's going to be inside our spiral. But still, I'd take the sanding stick and just knock the rough edge off, both ends. Now, to do your spiral, what you want to do is you want to grab the end so that it's just a little bit hanging out. And we're just going to pull the wire around using just our fingers. Yeah. And now when we get this whole thing spiraled up so that all there is left is the very little bit of the straight end, we're going to turn that into our loop. This is a little bit wonky. So continue making your spiral. Now we want this bit to be straight up and down. So here we have our spiral, and you just need to determine which way you want the spiral to go, right or left, because when you make the loop, it would just depend on which way you turn it. So when we have the spiral, what we're going to do now is hammer it. And we'll just use a bench block for this. which is just a nice steel block. We're going to use a planishing hammer, which is just a nice shiny hammer, and we're just going to hammer this to give it a little bit of strength and a little decoration. Now what we want to do is, I want this spiral to spiral right, so I'll put the loop over towards the back. So we're going to just once again grab the end of this, and we want just a small loop. So turn it until it touches the wire, because we want it to touch so that it won't come undone. So then we're going to take our ear wire and a set of parallel jaw pliers, and we're just going to open this sideways, put the earring on, close it back sideways, and make sure that it touches. Now you can see that that's hanging straight. Well, you just grab the end of your ear wire with your parallel jaw pliers and twist it to get it where you want it. So there you go. 50 millimeter long 0.8 wire for the ear wire, and 60 millimeter long piece of 1 millimeter wire for the spiral. Now, to put a little bit of tension in this ear wire so that it won't up and up, we do the same thing with the planishing hammer. We just put the curve on our bench block and just hammer it gently on this curve, and that way it'll have plenty of tension. So there you go, 5-minute earrings.